to help me throw a sick party too.
Yeah, let's talk about that actually for a minute, because I was so blown away by your music. And when I was reading through your bio, you really were a promoter for the majority of your involvement with music, correct? And it's only been
Yes.
recently that you made the switch. So I want to
Yeah.
talk about both that stuff. But when we go through the story, um, I think you and I are about the same age. Sounds like we grew up around the same scene. Like, what was it that drew you in? And like, how did you start promoting shows?
Well, I learned how to DJ from DJ Top Speed when I was 14 at a place called Mars Music. And I just did it to learn, you know. All my friends are DJs. I hung out with all the DJs. And I just didn't want to be a DJ. I was had that be scared in front of people. I wanted to throw the party because the DJ might make people feel good, but I'm the one that brung the DJ. You know, I brung the DJ, so this is my party. All these people are here because I put this on. You know what I mean? They might be here to see the DJ, you know, but I
Right.
enjoyed orchestrating, and I've worked with plenty of promoters here in
And
the
you're making
back.
the high level creative decisions, which is what's really appealing about that.
Yeah, yeah, I just love throwing the party. And then I became a parent, so I couldn't DJ, you know, and now I've been a single parent. So now that my kid's older, I had DJs during the pandemic coming to my house, like Paul and Dustin Sheridan. I give a big shout out to him. He really is like, hey, you're sitting here, you got 8 CDJ 3000s at your home, a V10, you know, you got the new A9, you got all this shit at your house. Why don't you just DJ again? We'll make sure you get the best music. We're all tied to labels. Boom. And pandemic got over, and I booked Green Velvet, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna play. You know, I was like, I'm gonna open up for Green Velvet for my first gig.
Wow, that's
and
amazing.
and I went for it.
There's so many stories in this podcast. Myself, a long time I got back into music was the pandemic, where people had a big changes in the pandemic, where they're like that moment to pause gave them, some thought about what they may actually really want to do. That's awesome to
I
hear.
just I dedicated my life to house music because it saved my life. I was such a ghetto kid. Like I was a real gangster, you know, like as a child. I just grew up in a very rough neighborhood, and you know, I was a bad kid, you know, and house music sucked me in and pretty much saved me from that life. And that's why I've dedicated my life to bringing it, and now I'm producing it. Like it's coming full circle, you know, for me, and it's my soul, you know. It's I would shrivel up and die without house music.
People outside of the scene really underestimate like the degree to which dance music saves a lot of people that are involved, and that how important the community is to people, how important it is for people that don't often feel accepted in other communities to feel accepted there, and just what it's a society that gets a bad rap, but the good reputation is missed often. Like it's a beautiful environment, you know?
Yeah, like I bring people with me to EDC this year, and they're like just looking around and seeing all the different cultures. I'm like, that's what
Yeah.
it's about. Half of these people don't even speak the same language, but they're all here for one thing. That's house music, you know. It's
Yeah.
dance music, period. But
And this is music that gets no support on the radio or very, very little radio support.
very
Gets,
little radio.
it's all underground and it's always been that way. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and it just it saved me, and I love it, and I'm gonna be doing it till the day I die.
so in terms of your first, like, what was the first real step you took in promotion? Like, what was the first like risk you might have taken where like you're like, okay, this has got to work? And then any situations
So
like that?
throwing some money at
It's because it's
here's
real easy. There's the joke about the way to make a small fortune in promoting is to start with a large fortune.
yeah, I was like, here's 10 grand. You give it to some friends, they bring some DJs, and you
Yeah,
hope to get your money back, or at least,
yeah.
you know, break even. And I always made my money back. I don't think I've ever really took a huge loss. Um, and I bring people that people want to hear, you know,
Yeah.
or 3 or 4 people. Like the rave days, you would book, you know, we had the Executioners, Qbert,
Oh,
and KRS-One all on the
oh,
same night. You know what I mean? Like at a rave.
oh God. I saw Qbert once at a rave in Springfield, Mass, like in 2001, and there was a lot of mushrooms going through me, and it was a bizarre and amazing experience.
I also feel like that's what's missing, and I like the that's what we focus on in our parties. We try to bring more than one person that's on the label. And when we do an Aliens on Mushrooms party, we'll have two or three people, or like, well, at least everybody playing that night from the opener to the midliner to the headliner are all on our record label.
Mhm.
And I miss those parties, like when
Yeah.
you would have three people in one night
I
that
miss when record labels meant something. They still
are
do in dance music more than others, but that
putting
used to
out
mean
something,
something.
and sometimes like there's bigger shows, like I just had Side Piece, I had to open up. I couldn't say, hey, Paul, come, you
Yeah.
know, let me throw you $5,000 more to open up for these guys. Like it's hard to do that, but I like what we're doing because I like to have three guys from our label on the party. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's great branding.
It's like the old school. You come and you get to see three of your favorite DJs at one time.
Yeah. I mean, that's in like I said before, it's like there is something in electronic music, especially when you're saying aliens on mushrooms. It does in its house music, it paints a picture for you, you know what you're getting. And you give a few acts that fit into that in different ways. That's a pretty solid friggin' night, especially when there's this amazing production value going along with it. Like I see why you're not losing money on these shows. I mean, I'm very envious. There isn't this is like I kind of intimated before, this is the grown-up version of the scene that I grew up in. This doesn't really exist where I am, or maybe I'm not being invited to it.
Yeah, I heard you mention